What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Joey Wright and John Luke Garofalo, a freshly married and freshly fade John Luke Garofalo. And we've got our great friend here joining us to celebrate and play some fantasy fortune on the last day of week 6, Pierre Wilson. Pierre, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be back on. Congrats, JL, on the marriage.
Thank you, my friend.
It's a good time. It's a good time. A lot of highs and lows, but happy for you and your spouse.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you here.
Well.
If you are not already following our friend Pierre, go and fix that right now. You can find him on Twitter at PWE31. It's right there below his handsome face on the screen. You should check out his work over at Fantasy Impact today as well, where he's a DFS analyst helping you find all the best DFS streamers week in and week out. And he's the producer of the Finding Faith, Losing Sleep podcast as well. We got some people in the chat hyped for our guest today. Craig stopping by, our chat historian with Pierre's lifetime stats here on Front Yard Fantasy. Pierre's making his 5th Front Yard Fantasy appearance. He has played in 2 games and is 1-1, but has not yet played Fantasy Fortune. So Pierre, today, going for that winning record, trying to become 2-1 all time in FYF games.
I need it.
Not today.
Not today.
Not with the Central State Marauders hat on. It's not going to happen. Joey's got his new lucky hat on.
Yeah, I'm trying them all out. One of them's going to be lucky.
We got Grim in here saying comments aren't working. Yes, they are. And then Grim also said, Joey, DJ sent you wrestling pics. So Joey, check your inbox for the
I did. I looked at him during the countdown, DJ, and those were some wrestling ladies you sent me pictures of. So, but you looked happy in them, so that's good.
We got Dame in here with the Howdy FYF clan. What's up, Dame? Welcome in.
What up, Dame?
And we got Andres stopping by. What's up, Andres? It's great seeing you this week. It's a JT plus JL.
Hey, my guy.
Albert coming by to say hello to everyone. What's up, Albert? And we got our favorite chat cat, Mr. Scampers. Good afternoon, FYF fam, and Pierre and Creats. Let me try that word again. Congrats,
JL. Creats. Is it like Meet the Millers? You get tattooed on your neck?
Creats.
No creats, baby. That's what me and all my bros call creatine for short when we don't want to say the whole word. You got some of that creats I can hit this morning? We got Jay in the chat with the Happy Monday FYFers and Scott in here stopping by say, wife and I are 18 years in, haven't hit a low yet. Fingers crossed. So JL, take some notes.
Can we get her opinion on that, Scott?
What note should I take?
Be Scott Fish when possible.
Be Scott Fish. Okay.
Or marry Scott Fish's wife, because it sounds like a lovely marriage. Andrew,
so let me get this straight. My checklist is now be Scott Fish and then marry Scott Fish's wife. It sounds.
I think they go hand in hand, so I think it's kind of they're compatible there.
She could help me find some 4-leaf clovers. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I was still looking. I was looking yesterday.
Oh, how
unsuccessful.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Andrew here said Monday is a terrible way to spend 1/7 of your life, but this makes it better. Congrats.
Let's go.
What a happy and sad sentence you put in there, Andrew. Started me off a little depressed and then just cheered me up a little bit. You're like, yeah, we're depressed, but we can have moments of joy. Maria stopped by with the hello, and dropping we are 9.5 years in, so halfway there.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, today we brought Pierre here to play a game we call Fantasy Fortune, as has been alluded to in the chat. Before we get to that, though, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our friend Pierre, I said it once, I'm saying it again now. I'll say it again, and probably one more time after that. Follow him on Twitter at PWE31. Check out his work over at Fantasy Impact today. And his podcast, the Finding Faith, Losing Sleep podcast. After you do that, head on back over here to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to make sure you never miss us. And if you hit that notification bell, you'll make sure you never miss any of our stash offs that we have impromptu, on air, live, at least once a month.
That's not where my stash goes. Sorry.
And our daily live streams at 3 p.m. Eastern time. More of the Fantasy Football Game Show goodness. We got a question in here before we pop into our game. Then I'm going to explain how it works and we're going to get started. But Grim wanted to know Pickens, Olave, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Christian Watson, and K.J. Osborne. He needs to start 4 of these in full PPR. So one of these players is going to see the bench. Pierre, when you look at this list of names, is there an obvious sit to you?
It's just like week 7. I mean, what's the context here?
Start sit early in here.
So just looking at the name, it'd be Osborne. Looking at matchups that could change. So who does the Vikings have?
Vikings have the 49ers.
It's Osborne. you gotta set Osborne there.
Osborne's the name that jumps out to me, even with Jefferson out.
And one more would probably be
Watson.
2, 3, 4.
No, they play the Broncos. So I think I want Watson.
You gonna sit Pickens in?
It's probably Pickens, yeah. That's tough. I know Watson hadn't done it yet, but
Olave, Brown, and Evans are locked in. You're starting those 3 guys for sure.
Correct. So it's between Pickens and Watson. I think I play Watson personally next week and bench Pickens, but I can see it the other way around.
I'm with you guys. And I do think it comes down to benching 2 of those 3 players, KJ Osborne, Christian Watson, George Pickens, with Osborne being definitely on the bench for me. Z Money in here stopped by with a question for us. Says, do I start Joshua Palmer, who's questionable, or Quentin Johnston? Joey, do you have an answer to this question? And does the context of their matchup matter to you? Because this does seem like one where maybe depending on how much they're down by, you might have a different answer.
If you need a catch, start Quentin Johnston. If you need more than one catch, I would start Joshua Palmer. I still think Joshua Palmer's role on this team with Mike Williams out is the wide receiver 2. And the good thing is you're going to know Z Money if Joshua Palmer's playing or not. And I do believe Palmer picked up the injury kind of midweek, so hopefully he's recovered from it. We shall see.
And Jalen, you need one catch, just one, from Quentin Johnston tonight to pass Joey and not be eliminated in the Guillotine League. You feeling all right? You think you're going to get it?
I am not feeling I'm going to get it. I'm going to take the approach of being disappointed and being pleasantly surprised rather than the other way around.
Just some pre-disappointment instead
expecting
of
the disappointment. Yeah.
See, I'm gonna
That's
go.
How everyone should watch this show too. Just expect me to be disappointed and be pleasantly surprised when it's actually pretty good.
Pierre, who do you think has a better chance of surviving? JL, who needs one catch, 0.7 points from Quentin Johnston, or me, who needs 5.96 points from Brandon Cooks?
JL. That's
my
man.
No. You're right, though. You are correct. We got Ladarius stopping by saying, sorry.
What up, Ladarius?
Hoping all is well with all. We're hoping all is well
Good
with
to
you
see you,
as
my
well.
friend.
All right, well, guys, I'm going to pull up this game, explain how it works, and then we're going to get started here ever so shortly. If you've got more questions for us, some start-sit decisions ahead of tonight's Cowboy Chargers game, throw them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer any and all of them for you.
Creats
to everybody. Creats to you, and creats to you too.
We're back on the left side of the screen now. Okay.
Whoa.
Threw me off.
Well, guys, the game today is Fantasy Fortune. If you have not played with us before, it looks a lot like the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune, but we have an NFL and fantasy twist that we have added to it. On your turn, instead of spinning a wheel, you're going to answer a 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia question. Get that question right, you're going to add 5. You're going to get the opportunity to guess a consonant that you think appears in the puzzle. For every instance of the consonant that shows up, you will earn $500 into your round bank. Now, you can do this up to 3 times in a row on your team before you're going to end your turn, and it'll move on to the next player. That is, get a question right, get a consonant right. After your third one correct, you will have 5 seconds to solve the puzzle, but then your turn is going to be automatically over. But all that money you've built up answering questions correctly will be transferred from your round bank into your total bank. Now, there are 2 other ways that your turn can end. And by that, I mean 1. And that's if you get either a question or a letter wrong. So anything wrong during your turn is automatically over. Now, there are 2 other options before a question has been asked that you can take as well. You can choose to solve the puzzle at any time. That'll earn you a minimum of $1,000 or whatever you have in your round bank, whichever one is higher. You can also choose to buy a vowel at any time. Those will cost $100 per instance of the vowel that shows up in that puzzle to a max of $500. We're going to go like this till we run out of puzzles, run out of time, or run out of breath. I'm really struggling today. Went on a big run right before this, at which point the show will end. I'm lying. I didn't run. I haven't run in like years.
So surprised.
The
by
look
that.
on JL's face was like,
Wow.
I believe you, but that's surprising.
I would never say otherwise, but
Ran
wow.
to your airplane, like ran to the bathroom. Yeah. But
Ran to the kitchen real quick. Whoever has the most money at the end of that last puzzle will be our fantasy fortune champion for today. If it's Pierre, he'll be moving into that elusive winning record club here on Front Yard Fantasy. You guys ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Let's do it. Scamper's in here with a guess at Jamison Crowder. No letter solve.
Oh, good try.
Great try. We'll find out if that's right, but this is a reminder to everybody watching. Play along. Throw your answers in the chat. And a reminder to our contestants to have the comments closed over there. Be in the private chat or have this full screened. At least while there's a puzzle up on the board. Also, I see Dustin in here saying hashtag Team Joey, but also love seeing Pierre on. And then acknowledge my hashtag Team Joey and Pierre love.
Oh my!
I acknowledged it immediately as soon as I was made aware of it. So
This is my guy. I met him at Lambeau.
Awesome.
It's a couple weeks ago.
At Lambeau?
Yeah, my wife's a Packers fan. We were up there for Thursday night against the Lions, and actually tied and won the Millionaire Maker for the showdown that night too. So really good night. Met Dustin. It was a good time.
I met Dustin the other night while winning the Millie Maker at Lambeau Field.
It was a tie. There was like 100 other people. It was like 17 grand, but still, I'll take it.
Dude, that's
if you had to rank those two things, meeting Dustin and winning 17 grand, what would you put first?
Dustin.
Dang.
That was really nice.
I've done without the money before.
I would have said 17K so fast and would have felt no bad about it.
And he would have said that about me.
I've met Dustin. I would take $50. Like,
so maybe he was nicer to me than he was to you guys.
No, Dustin, he's the best. I was just kidding.
Well, guys, I'm going to pull up this first puzzle here, and we are going to get started. All of the rules that I just mentioned, forget them, because this first puzzle is different entirely. This is a toss-up puzzle. There are no questions. There's going to be a puzzle on the board. I'm going to slowly reveal letters. When you think you know who the player is, buzz in by saying your own name. Be the first person to buzz in. You're going to get a shot at solving this. If you're right, you'll earn $500 and the ability to go first and a shot of your choosing. Get it wrong, you're eliminated from participating until everybody has guessed at least once. I'm going to pull this puzzle up, start revealing letters if you guys are so ready.
So ready.
So ready? Okay, well, here is the NFL player. I'm going to start revealing letters.
Joey.
Pierre.
Okay, Joey beat Pierre just ever so slightly.
This is Gardner Tim Wright Minshew.
This is Gardner Tim Wright Minshew, Joey. That's going to earn you $500 into your round bank. We've been getting reports about Anthony Richardson saying that Gardner Minshew may be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year at this point. They're looking into surgical options. Joey, what does that do for the receiving options there in Indy for you if Gardner Minshew is, in fact, the season-long starter?
I think it's good for Michael Pittman and bad for Josh Downs. It seems like Anthony Richardson has really kind of leaned on Josh Downs the last few weeks, where Gardner Minshew seems to love Michael Pittman. So I think that's where it falls as far as who I would favor. I still think Josh Downs can be, especially in Dynasty, you want to hold on to him. But for redraft, might be looking elsewhere.
Pierre, you're a Colts fan, and we were talking right before this. Gardner Minshew is a good backup, but he's still definitely a backup quarterback. What does this do for the receiving options there in your mind? Do you agree with Joey?
Well, I think not getting this, I have to leave the show now since I am a Colts fan. But I think it's good for both Pittman and Downs, honestly. When you look at Richardson, his legs were really what set him apart. He hadn't really gotten to the point where he developed much as a passer. He could pass, but I just felt like Minshew opens up some things a little bit more for the pass catchers where you don't have to worry about the dual threat of Richardson plus the running backs. So I like it for both. I do think that Pittman obviously is the biggest beneficiary, given he's the wide receiver one, but I think it's thumbs up for both Pittman and Downs. And you could even say that for Pierce a little bit as he saw some more action before he hurt his shoulder and left the game early.
Man, if
Pierre, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Which tight end from the Colts should I play every week? Because I can never get it right.
It's Granson. I think by the end of the year, it's going to be Ogletree. All I've seen, he's been the better guy in camp. He tore his ACL last year, so he didn't play. So as the year goes on, I think Ogletree will actually supplant Granson, but for now, it's Granson.
We got Scott Fish in the chat stopping by saying, Dustin, that is now the price of meeting you. $17,000. The market has been set. So you can point to that as the previous sale, worth approximately $17,000. And Dustin agrees. And yes, meeting Pierre is worth more than $17K. That's easy to say coming from the person who didn't win $17K. Dustin.
But Dustin would sell it like, if you meet me, you might win $17,000. It's happened before.
At Lambeau.
Yeah.
He should start using that to get to go to lots of Packers games.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew.
We had some close answers in the class.
Gardner
Minshew from Dustin, and Ladarius also close with Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
Grimfan was in fact the only person in the chat to get this one completely right with Gardner Minshew.
Well done, Grimfan. Well done.
Nice job. You at least have spell check put on and have updated player names into your dictionary. Joe, you've got a nice little lead here after one, and you're going to get to go first in our next round. You guys ready for puzzle number 2 here?
Yep.
This one comes from a special little cat in the chat, Mr. Scampers.
My.
This is an NFL player movie mashup. Some examples in the past would be like Boston Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or Dude, where's my Derek Carr? Those are the two that always come to mind. But we're going to basically jam a movie and a player name together in some way, shape, or form. Get it right. You will get the points that you've earned so far. Joey, you are up first in this game. Are you ready? Would you like a question? Would you like to solve?
Yeah, I want a question.
Okay, Joey, who scored more PPR fantasy points?
I don't watch any games.
In week 6, who scored more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Jacoby Myers or was it Drake London?
Drake London
is correct.
He caught passes yesterday.
Right? I didn't even know they had those available in Atlanta.
Yeah. So
what would you like, Joey?
I would like an R.
An R. There's one R in this puzzle. We're going to add 500. Would you like another question? Would you like to solve or would you like to buy a vowel?
I'd like another question, please.
Yeah, a reminder to get out of the chat. And Eddie down here thinks you should buy a vowel. Winky.
Buy a vowel, Joey.
Eddie Haskell. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I'm going to buy a vowel because Eddie told me to. I'll buy an E.
An E. There is one E in this
thanks,
puzzle.
Eddie. I'm going to take a question.
Joey, here's your next question. Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Jameson Williams or was it Zay Flowers?
Oh, Zay Flowers must have had more than one catch.
Oh, he did have more than one catch, Joey. That is absolutely
so many
correct.
catches.
Which letter would you like?
But it was a big catch for Jameson Williams. I'm going to take a T.
There are no T's in this puzzle. Killing it on the questions. But the letters don't like you, which means, Pierre, we are on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question, please.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Michael Pittman Jr. or was it Adam Thielen? Thielen is correct. The number 2 PPR wide receiver on the week. Which letter would you like, Pierre?
Give me an S.
An S. There's one S in this puzzle. Slowly but surely, we are revealing it. Pierre, you may now purchase vowels if you would like to do so. Your other options remain the same. Solve or take question number 2.
Let me buy a vowel. Give me an A.
An A. There are no A's in this puzzle, unfortunately. Which, good news, you didn't spend any of your money. Bad news, it is now John Luke's turn. JL, would you like a question? Would you like to solve, or that's it?
Question.
Okay. JL, who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Jalen Waddle or was it Cooper Kupp?
I don't remember how many Kupp had. Let's go with Kupp.
Kupp is absolutely correct. The number 4 PPR wide receiver on the week. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an N.
An N. There are 4 N's in this puzzle. You found the letters, JL. That's going to be $2,000 into your round bank. All the options are available to you now. You can buy letters if you would like. You can yell letters if you would like. You can eat letters if you would like.
Let's buy an O.
Oh. There are 4 O's in this puzzle. 1, 2, 3, 4, bringing you down to 1,600. Would you like another question? Question number 2. Would you like to buy another vowel, or would you like to solve?
I would like to solve.
Okay.
This is such a good puzzle. This is such a freaking good puzzle. Oh my god. Yeah, Young Wei Cool Runnings.
This is Young Wei Cool Running.
Oh my
Scampers
God.
gave us this puzzle.
Scampers
Nice
sent this
job,
to me
John
too.
Luke.
Top tier.
Oh God.
Oh, this was sitting in your inbox and you still didn't get it. That's incredible. Nice job, John Luke, solving that one. That's going to earn you $1,600. And you get some
Nice
cool
job.
points for solving the cool puzzle right there.
That was a fun one.
Well, I have limited questions about the Atlanta
Young
Falcons.
Wei.
About Young Wei Koo. What team is he on now? Is he still on the Falcons?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have limited questions about the Falcons kicker, Young Wei Koo. I did want to ask you guys about this Falcons offense. We've seen a couple decent weeks from Kyle Pitts now. John Luke, are you getting to the point where maybe you're trusting Kyle Pitts as a starting tight end given the tight end landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing play out is what we were all expecting to eventually happen, is the talent to catch up with the opportunity here, and I guess the opportunity to catch up with talent is what I meant to say. 11 targets in week 5, 6 targets this past week. I mean, the touchdown definitely helped Kyle Pitts, but he's still in that middling tier.
Pierre, do you have any more optimism for Kyle Pitts? And if you are staring down Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith on your bench, which one are you plugging into your lineup?
I've been playing Jonnu. I'm in that situation, and I played Jonnu just because the targets have been a little bit more steady. 6 to 8 targets really the last few weeks. Familiar with Arthur Smith, from his Titan days. I do think Pitts is the better talent, but sometimes it's all about opportunity. You got to go opportunity over talent. So I've been going Jonnu, but I do think Pitts is still in play. Again, the talent's there. They just got to figure out ways to get him the ball.
And Joey, you mentioned Drake London. He got targets this week. Is this
2 weeks?
2 weeks in a row now? 1 week we look at it. 2 weeks we start paying attention. What are you thinking about Drake London's prognostication over the back 2/3 of this season?
I think he might have seen his 2 best games as far as usage wise.
No,
I am selling high if I can. I just don't trust Arthur. Excuse me. I just don't trust Arthur Smith, and that they're going to pass the ball as much as they have. I understand that people are like, okay, maybe he's lightening up a little bit. I just see Bijan getting more and more involved as the season goes on, and there being less pass attempts for Drake London. So I'm selling high while I can right now.
John Luke, are you cashing in on Drake London's 2 good games as well, or do you think this is a sign of more to come down the course of the season?
I think it's a 50-50 shot, which means if you can shop him around and get good value on Drake London, then I would be trading him. I don't expect Desmond Ridder and his offense to magically make a jump up. I do think this is just one of the variant spikes. I
see Ladarius down here saying the greatest puzzle in the history of this game. No bias. Coming from the Falcons fan in the chat down there. Also, anyone in the chat get this one? I do not think so. You were the first one to get it. Nice job. Also, Scampers was just stopping by to say whenever the name showed up on the first puzzle for Gardner Minshew, Jamison Crowder does in fact fit. It's the same number of letters, first name and last name, as Gardner Minshew.
Oh, man, that would have been wild.
That would have been absolutely wild. Well, John Luke, you got a little bit of a lead here, but we are going into puzzle number 3. And Joey, you are going to be up first in this one. We've got a week 6 headline. So this is going to be an NFL headline pertaining to week 6. The one that just happened is still happening, will continue to happen until later tonight. Joey, would you like a question, or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like one of your finest questions, please, sir.
Okay, one of my finest questions coming right up. Joey, who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Darren Waller or was it Taysom Hill?
Oh, God, I didn't watch the game last night. Of course I watched the game last night. I'm a fantasy analyst. I definitely watched it last night. I'm going to go with Darren Waller.
I'm sorry, Joey. It was
Yeah.
Taysom Hill. Had Darren Waller not been held in the end zone on the last play of the game, he probably would have had a touchdown to put him above Taysom Hill. But without that, he did not get it, which means we are on to Pierre. Pierre, would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
A question, please.
Okay, who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Mark Andrews or was it Dalton Schultz?
Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz is correct, Pierre. The number 2 PPR tight end on the week. Which letter would you like?
Let's go back to the S train. Give me an S.
An S. There are
Train.
3 S's.
Oh,
I tried to add an S noise into it. It didn't work. Pierre, you get $1,500.
Let's get another question.
Okay, question number 2 coming your way. Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Travis Etienne or was it DeAndre Swift?
That's a tough one. I know ETN scored twice. Swift had a catch. I'm gonna go ETN just because he got in the end zone twice.
The number 2 running back on the week, Travis Etienne. You're absolutely correct, Pierre. Which letter would you like?
Give me a T.
Give you a T. There are 1,
Oh,
2, 3, 4, 5 T's in this puzzle. Going to add 2,500 to your score, bringing you up to 4,000 in your round bank. Now, Pierre, for your next question, if you get it right and the letter, you will bank all of this money, whether you solve the puzzle or not. This is all your last opportunity. This is also your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so on this turn, or you can solve, or we can just move into question number 3.
Oh. Give me one more question.
Okay, question number 3. Get this right and the letter. You will bank all of this money. Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Alvin Kamara or was it Alexander Madison? I love the giggle.
I know Madison sucked. I know he got 42 yards. I just don't know how many catches he got. Crap. Kamara
is correct. Nice job, Pierre. Which letter would you like? Get this right. All that money is going into your bank.
Let's try an H.
An H. There is 1 H in this puzzle,
Oh,
bringing
you
you to
needed-
4,500. Pierre, you're going to bank all that money, and you've got 5 seconds to try to solve this, or we'll move on to JL.
I don't have it.
Which means, John Luke, it is your turn. Would you like a question, or would you like to solve?
question me, please.
Where were you on the night of January 14th, 2021?
Right in my home.
Oh, okay. Well, who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Isaiah Pacheco or was it Kyron Williams?
Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams is correct, John Luke. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an R.
R. There
R.
are 3 R's in this puzzle. It's going to give you $1,500.
R's. I'll take another question.
Question number 2. Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who had more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Kenneth Walker or Brian Robinson Jr.?
Oh no. Kenneth Walker.
That is correct, John Luke. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an F.
An F. There are 3 F's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500.
Did you guys see that one-handed catch by Kenneth Walker?
Beautiful.
Oh my God. I gasped out loud.
I think he heard everything I said about
Those
Zach
gasps.
Charbonnet during the offseason. And he was like, oh, really?
He heard it
He's
all.
better. He's better in every aspect of the game, Simon. Effing watch this. It's out there making me look like a fool. John Luke, this is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so this turn, or we can move on to your third and final question, or you can solve this.
It's by an E.
An E?
An E.
There are more than 5 E's.
Wow.
So it's just going to subtract $500 from your score, though, John Luke, bringing you down to 2,500. Your options remain the same.
I would like another vowel, and that vowel would be an I, please.
An I. There are 2 eyes in this puzzle, bringing you down to 2,300. Your options remain the same still.
Okay, I will take another question.
Okay, another question for John Luke. Jail, who scored more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Who scored more PPR fantasy points in week 6? Was it Stephon Diggs or was it Cortland Sutton?
Diggs.
Diggs is correct. Even though Josh Allen was trying his best to throw touchdowns that would help nobody for fantasy last night, Diggs still managed to get it done. Which letter would you like, JL? This is to bank all this money.
It's to bank all this money?
Hey, this is your third question.
Okay, well then I will take an M.
An M. There is 1 M in this puzzle, going to bring you up to 2,800, and you've got 5 seconds to solve, JL, before we move on to Joey.
Let's defect. I don't know.
Which means, Joey, it is your turn. JL has banked this money. What would you like to do here?
Man, I'm going to solve because there's not a whole lot of letters to play with. Jets defeat Eagles for the first time ever.
This is Jets defeat Eagles for the first time ever in that shocking win
That
yesterday.
makes me
For
mad.
the first time.
What's
makes me
crazy?
so
I
mad.
kid you not. So the top part, my mind immediately went Zach Wilson, and it kind of fit into there, but obviously it wasn't Zach Wilson. So the fact that it was still about the Jets is kind of funny.
I thought Simon forgot a word. I thought it was Jets defeat Eagles for the first time this year. And I was going to ask when it was my turn, Simon, did you forget a word? But no, he did not. He got all the words.
First time ever. They kept saying it on the broadcast. They were like, the Jets are 0-12 versus the Eagles all time. Pull this off. Not only will it end the Eagles' undefeated season, but the Jets will have their first win in franchise history ever.
Yeah.
Felt like they were just so excited about it. Ladarius in the chat stopping by getting this. Scampers was the first one, though. Nice job, Mr. Scampers. And then Andrew, all around the same time. Nice job. I see NKC stopping by just in time as an Eagles fan for this beautiful puzzle. So Simon, I'm mad right now. I'm past. This is stupid. You got to be kidding me. Why are this here? Well, it's here because it was pretty big news. The last undefeated team is nothing to sneeze at, and you still got arguably the best team in the NFL that you're cheering for, NKC. So brush a little Zach Wilson dust off your shoulder, and your Eagles are going to be just fine. They're going to kill it the rest of the year. That being said, JL, I did want to throw this one your way. Zach Wilson, not necessarily the best game, but it feels like the story is continuing. Are you buying into his redemption arc still at this point? Because a win against the Eagles is a pretty good little notch on that post.
Yes, still bought in. He's going to do it. He's got it.
Pierre, whenever
no
we're looking
worries whatsoever.
Whenever we look at the offensive weapons here for the Jets, Breece Hall seems to be coming on ever since they've unleashed him. Outside of him, though, like a Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson under center, what do you think the ceiling is for him the rest of this season?
I mean, I think it's capped with it being Zach Wilson, but I think we also saw yesterday that he's still capable of putting up some games that can help you win your fantasy leagues. So not the ceiling that I think he would have had with a Rodgers. You know, I took a lot of them hoping for like those Devontae Adams, type of games. We're not going to get that with Zach Wilson, but he should still get you, 15 to 20 points week over week.
Mr. Scampers down here saying Zach Wilson has picked up Rodgers' ability to draw offside penalties. Impressive. Not going to lie.
That's what that means.
He's learning from him. I mean, honestly, it probably does help to sit there with Aaron Rodgers and learn from the best person who's ever done that specific thing, how to do it the best.
Right.
Joey, outside of Breece Hall in this running
Yes.
back room, though, there was hope that maybe a Dalvin Cook would be usable for fantasy. Then we start seeing Michael Carter get touches. Are there any other backs you're rostering besides Breece Hall here?
Oh, no. It's Breece Hall. I don't mind it. Not speaking of backs, but wide receivers. I don't mind what I'm seeing out of Allen Lazard. I know it's not a lot of points every week, but there's something building there, I feel. I think he could be a competent wide receiver looking at next year. And I want to thank you for Simon for saying not going to lie, because I never knew what NGL meant. And that's what I learned today on the show.
I heard you say it under your breath. You're like, that's what that meant.
I've seen it, and I was just
Joey
like,
learned slang.
but I'm the oldest guy at this company, and I'm always afraid to ask some things like that.
As you should be, because we
You
do
can ask.
penalize for asking.
They do. One peanut taken away.
I had to call you whenever I found that CD in my house and didn't know how to play it. So if you have abbreviations that you need us to help you with,
chewing at everything. I couldn't believe it.
Also, I see Scott Fish in here saying no Sauce or DJ Reed in that one too, which is absolutely wild. That was a fun game to watch. I know it wasn't necessarily the highest scoring game, but that was maybe the game I had the most fun sitting down and watching this weekend.
Oh my God, there were some crazy plays in that game too. There at one point, Jalen Hurts was about to get sacked, somehow gets away on a scramble, throws it like on the run at the last second to AJ Brown, who is really fully covered. And AJ Brown somehow just perfectly is able to pull it in for a catch.
Absurd. It's
just so stupid. That was like the 18th of those plays.
I think I remember exactly which one you're talking about. He just like teardrops it in there where it looks literally impossible that the ball's in AJ Brown's arms at the end of that. Yet here we are. Man, boy, do I love watching Jalen Hurts play football. Well, guys, we got a game after this one. Pierre with 4,500, JL with 4,400, Joey still in the mix with 1,500. One puzzle can fix that.
Hey, Jay, remember last week when I was like not even involved in the game and I like screwed you out of the win?
Yes.
It's happening again, baby.
Son of a gun.
Before we move on, I see Grim down here saying Jets will also beat Eagles in this year's Super Bowl. That was my DraftKings bet.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Let's
The
go,
Jets
Grim.
defense looks legitimate. Like the Jets defense looks good enough to be a like competitive playoff defense. Joey, is there any hope that this offense can carry them on a playoff run?
After the first week when did they beat the Bills the first week? Yeah, they beat the Bills the first week, right?
I'm forgetting. I thought they got very close.
No, they beat
did.
the
Okay.
Bills.
It was close. That's right. After they beat the Bills in the first week, I thought this could be one of those teams that just leans on the run and has an elite defense. And then I just felt like the defense wasn't really showing up the next few weeks like I thought it was going to, but it's starting to come into form now. Listen, if you just lean on Breece Hall and Zach Wilson just is competent, I think they can make a playoff run. They're just in a really tough division with the Bills and the Dolphins both there. That's tough.
Absolutely. I see NKC saying, stop talking about this. My friend, there are 32 teams in the NFL. They're all going to have bad losses. And as analysts and entertainers covering this, we're going to hit on each and every one of them. Unfortunately,
just look at Jay. We shit on the Giants every week.
I'm wearing a Browns hat, and this is the first good news they've had in about 4 seasons after beating the 49ers this weekend.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. We had a lot of crazy going on this weekend. Well, guys, here's your next puzzle. It is rhyme time.
Big word.
Yeah, we got rhyme time here. How this puzzle works or this category, it's going to be a player name, and then it's going to rhyme. It's going to be something like drinking soda with Marcus Mariota, playing clarinet with Jacoby Brissett, a romantic weekend in France purchased by Trey Lance. Something along those lines. It'll be a player's name. There will be a rhyming word. Everything else is on the table.
I like how he got downgraded to just purchasing the trip rather than traveling.
Trying to give an example without the word with in it so that they didn't all sound like they had to have the word with.
Poor guy.
Okay. Which means who solved that last puzzle? Joey did.
I did.
So Pierre, you are up first. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this?
Question, please.
Okay.
Strays.
My question for you, we're going to cut over to some fantasy points on the season thus far. So not just week 6, but through 6 weeks. So Pierre, who has more fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Puka Nacua or is it Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Puka.
Puka is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Pierre?
N in Nancy.
N is in Nancy. There are 2 N's in this puzzle. Going to earn you $1,000. You can buy a vowel. You can take your next question, or you can solve this puzzle.
Can I buy an I?
You may buy an I. There are 2 I's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200. Your options remain the same if you'd like to buy more vowels, or we can move on to question 2.
Question 2.
Okay, question number 2. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Marquise Brown or is it Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is correct. Which letter would you like?
G.
That's even with a bye and a missed game, Keenan Allen, or a game that has yet to be played yet.
He had that.
Keenan Allen has more fantasy points.
Vikings.
Is that a G, Pierre?
Yes.
There are 3 G's in this puzzle. That's going to add 1,500. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn if you would like to do so, or we can move on to question number 3, which, if you get it right, you're banking all this money. A letter 2.
I'll go question 3.
Question number 3. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Zay Flowers or is it Tutu Atwell?
2-2.
I'm sorry. It is Zay Flowers, a big week 6, helping him over that, which means, John Luke, we are on to you. Pierre did you a favor and put some letters on the board. Would you like to solve this, or would you like to hear a question?
I would like a question, please.
Okay. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Garrett Wilson or is it Nico Collins?
Garrett Wilson.
I'm sorry, John Luke. It is Nico Collins, the number 11 PPR wide receiver. I know. Doesn't seem right that the Texans have so many players just up there near the top. Joey.
T.
What'd you say?
What?
T.
And then you have to take a question first, Joey. Would you like a question?
I was trying to catch you. I wanted to see the All right. Question, please.
T.
You almost got me just from sheer confusion. Joey, damn it, I was just about to ask you which letter you would like. Joey, which of these players has more PPR fantasy points in the first 6 weeks of the season? Which of these players has more PPR fantasy points in the first 6 weeks? Is it Stephon Diggs or is it Jamar Chase?
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs is correct. Which letter would you like?
T.
T. So now that is 1,500 going into your round bank, Joe. Your options remain the same. You can buy a vowel, you can take another question, or you can solve.
I'm gonna buy an O.
I forget this puzzle.
once a week, this happens to me. I forget
Joey, you would like an O? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Joey, there are 3 O's in this puzzle. That's going to be minus 300. Would you like another question?
Please, okay. Simone.
Question number 2 coming your way. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Devonta Smith or is it Josh Downs?
Devonta Smith or Josh Downs. Most fantasy points first 6 weeks. Jeez, because Devonta Smith has had a rough start. Man, I'm still going to go Devonta Smith.
By only about 13 PPR points through 6 weeks, it is Devonta Smith, Joey, but it is much closer than it should be. Which one would you like?
Is he a buy low player right now? I feel like he has to be. I will take a S.
An S. There are 2 S's in this puzzle. Going to add another grand. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn if you would like to do so. Or you can take your third and final question.
I'm not even.
Is Joey frozen or am I frozen?
I think
He's frozen. This is a stall tactic.
Question.
There he is. He's back.
Question.
Here we go. Question for Joey.
I froze.
You did.
I
Who has
froze.
more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it DeAndre Hopkins or is it Curtis Samuel?
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel is correct. Joey, get this letter right. You're going to bank all of this money.
Man, I'm going to go with an L.
An L. There is 1 L in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Joey, you're going to bank all this money either way. But you have 5 seconds to try to solve this.
Instigating fight gong to Lego land.
I almost used that puzzle, Joey, but I switched it at the last second, which means Pierre.
Instigating a fight to go to Legoland.
It's
Classic tactic.
This doesn't say Joey's plans after the show. The category is rhyme time.
My kids went to Legoland without me. My mother took them. I was livid when I found out.
Oh, you didn't find out till after? They come home like,
They had a pizza guy. He made a pizza.
That's
Made of
baloney.
Legos. Okay, I'm done.
Pierre, it is your turn. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve, or would you like to buy vowels? As you still got some money sitting up there.
Can I buy a vowel?
You may.
And I want to go with you.
There are 2 U's in this puzzle. We're going to subtract 200. Your options remain the same.
Give me a question.
Okay, here's your question. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Zach Moss or is it James Cook?
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss is correct. Currently the number 5 running back on the season. Which letter would you like, Pierre?
H.
H. There's one H in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Your options remain the same. Question 2, buy vowels or solve this puzzle.
Oh, my goodness. Another question, please.
Okay, question number 2. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 6 weeks of the season? Is it Raheem Mostert or is it Bijan Robinson?
Mostert.
Mostert is correct. Only back better than him right now is McCaffrey. Which letter would you like, Pierre?
R.
R. There are 2 R's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,000. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so, or we can move on to that third and final question, unless you want to solve it
Can
right
I
now.
buy an A?
An A. You may buy an A. There are 2 A's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200.
What is that word? This is driving me crazy.
There is one more vowel if you would like to buy it, or we can move on to your third and final question.
Let me buy the last vowel because I'm really close to this. Give me the E. I know there's one.
There are 3 E's in here. Going to subtract 300 more.
I solved the puzzle.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Instructing Jared Goff to please cough.
Please cough.
What is wrong
Face
with
the
you?
other way. That is absolutely correct, Pierre. And everybody should be going to get their physicals if they have not yet this year. It's important to keep your health checked out, especially as you get older here. That includes you, Jared Goff. Nice job, Pierre. That's going to bank $3,100, my friend, and give you a nice
Thank
little
you.
lead.
Yeesh. I knew the Jared Goff. I couldn't get those last 2.
Grim fan had my favorite answer in the chat. Instigating Jared Goff to cheese dough. Very close on that one. And I think the first person to get this one, Andrew was close. Mr. Scampers was up there. He said introducing Jared Goff to whooping cough. Dustin got instructing Jared Goff to cough. So a lot of close ones. Nice job getting that one in the chat, my friends. We got time for one more puzzle here,
Yep.
I believe. Which puzzle do we want to do? We're going to
Big
do
one.
an NFL player movie mashup to finish things off. This is going to be a movie title mixed with an NFL player, similar to your Young Way Cool runnings earlier, but a different player and different
So good.
movie entirely. It may be better or worse. It's worse. I'm just going to tell you how it's not better. Pierre, you solved that last one, which means John Luke, you are up first in this one. Would you like a question, or
So
would
stupid.
would you like to solve this?
I need
Yeah.
a question.
I was going to say, would you like to solve this bad boy? But I'd waited too long, so it felt like I was just calling you a bad boy. And so,
I'd like to solve this bad boy.
would you like to solve this bad boy?
I would like to take a question, actually.
Okay, John Luke, what I want to know is in tonight's Thursday night football game, who has the better odds, is more favored to be an anytime touchdown scorer according to the FanDuel Sportsbook? And for everybody listening, anytime touchdown scorer refers to the ball carrier when it goes into the end zone. A passing touchdown does not count. They have to be the one holding the ball. So, John Luke, which of these players is the more likely anytime touchdown scorer? Is it Tony Pollard or is it Keenan Allen?
Pollard.
Pollard is correct at minus 180 to Allen's plus 120. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an S.
An S. There's one S in this puzzle. Going to add 500. What would you like to do next, bad boy?
Let's take another question.
Okay. John Luke, what I want to know is in week 6, who had more passing yards? Who had more passing yards in week 6? Was it Jared Goff or was it Patrick Mahomes?
I don't know.
Now that is correct.
Let's go Goff. No, let's go Mahomes. Let's go Mahomes.
Mahomes?
Yeah.
John Luke, Mahomes had 306 passing yards to Jared Goff's 353. So unfortunately,
Dang it.
that is incorrect. Joey, would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question.
Okay, Joey, what I want to know is in tonight's Thursday night football game, Who has the better odds, is more favored to be an anytime touchdown scorer? Is it CeeDee Lamb or is it Jake Ferguson?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is correct. There was no
Did I
trick
freeze
on
again?
this one. Plus 150 for CeeDee Lamb, plus 270 for Jake Ferguson. Which letter would you like, Joey?
T.
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 Wow, there's a lot of T's in this puzzle. 5 T is going to bring 2,500. You can buy a vowel, you can take a question, or you can solve.
Solve it. Show
Solve
us your
it.
feet.
I need to get points. I want to question.
I want to question. Well, then question you will. Joey, who had more passing yards in week 6? Who had more passing yards in week 6? Was it Matthew Stafford or was it Derek Carr?
Passing yards, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr.
In week 6.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is correct. He also had 353 passing yards, tied with Jared Goff for the leader.
Why
of
don't you
the league.
marry him then?
I mean, he's beautiful. Which letter would you like, Joey?
N. N is in Nancy.
There are
Just
N,
two,
N,
really?
N as in Nancy, 2 N's in this puzzle, bringing you up to 3,500. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so. If you bank this money, though, it will put you in the lead by 100, regardless of if there's any more letters. What would you like to do, Joey?
I want a question.
Okay, question number 3.
Yeah, question.
Question number 3. Get this right, and you'll add all of this money to your score as long as you get the letter right. Who had more rushing yards in week 6? Who had more rushing yards in week 6? Was it Travis Etienne Jr. or was it Jerome Ford?
Travis Etienne.
I'm sorry, Joey. Jerome Ford had no touchdowns, but 84 yards on the ground to Travis Etienne's 55, which means we are on to Pierre. Pierre, would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question.
It ain't over yet.
Okay, my question for you, Pierre, is in tonight's Thursday night football game. Which of these players?
Monday, Simon.
I keep saying
I'm
that.
saying Thursday. The 6th time.
In tonight's Wednesday morning football game. Hey, Pierre.
Yeah.
So since today's Monday, in tonight's Monday night football game between the Cowboys and the Chargers, which of these players is more favored to be an anytime touchdown scorer? Is it Brandon Cooks or is it the Dallas defense?
Oh my goodness. Why can't I get one of theirs?
Because you went third. I'm sorry. You run out of players.
I don't like Cooks, so we'll go Dallas D.
I'm sorry. It is Brandon Cooks at plus 340, Dallas defense at plus 550, which means John Luke is back to you. Question. Solve. Question. Okay. John Luke, we're going to do another Monday night special. Now that we know which of these players has better odds to be an anytime touchdown scorer on Monday night. Is it Michael Gallup or is it Joshua Kelly?
Kelly.
I'm sorry. Michael Gallup is currently sitting at plus 330 to Joshua Kelly's plus 410. Which means, Joey, it's back to you. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna take a question because I don't know it.
Joey, which of these players is more favored to be an anytime touchdown scorer in tonight's game, in Monday night's game? Which of these players is more favored to be an anytime touchdown scorer? Is it Quentin Johnston or is it Rico Dowdle?
Quentin Johnston.
I'm sorry, Joey. It is Rico Dowdle.
You got by a Rico Dowdle question.
Johnston.
You got Dowdle.
Get Dowdled.
You got Dowdle.
Which means, Pierre, we are back to
I
you.
feel like I got Dowdled.
Double Dowdle.
Wow. I get a question.
A question. Okay, what I want to know from you is who had more rushing yards in week 6? Who had more rushing yards in week 6? Was it Justin Fields or was it James Cook?
Fields.
I'm sorry. It was James Cook with 71 yards. Number 8 on the week. Justin Fields a little bit lower this week, down at 45 rushing yards, which means John Luke, it's back to you. Question,
Okay.
vowel?
I could buy a
Saul?
vowel. I'll buy a no.
Oh, there are 3 O's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 300, bring you down to 200. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
I would like a question.
Okay. Who had more rushing yards in week 6? Who had more rushing yards in week 6? Was it Saquon Barkley or was it Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker.
I'm sorry, it was Saquon Barkley. You knew it as soon as you said it, which means Joey, we are on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve? Who had more receiving yards in week 6? Who had more receiving yards in week 6? Was it Travis Kelce or was it Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill.
That is correct. They both had huge games. Hills was a little bit bigger. Which letter would you like, Joey?
I'm going to go with an L.
An L. There's one L.
Really? Thank you. But that gets me to.
Would you like to buy a
Okay.
vowel? Would you like another question?
I'm going to buy an E.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Yep.
There are 4 E's. You said it too late, so you're down to 3,600, Joey. What would you like to do now?
I'm going to solve.
Okay.
The Cortland Sutton. The Cortland Sutton before time.
This is the Cortland Sutton before
there
time. Is exactly
I hate this
what
game.
This is, Joey.
God,
that is going to solve the puzzle and win the show at 7,800 there at the last second, pulling it out on a just beautiful puzzle that really makes a lot of sense. The Cortland Sutton before time. Nice job, Joey.
I knew the Cortland Sutton. I couldn't figure out those last 2, and then the anytime touchdown. I get the ridiculous ones. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Rigged.
It was.
Hey, Joey got dowdled though. We got Joey dowdled there at the end.
If I had to put my money, I would. Is it anytime touchdown?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Running backs usually have best odds, but he threw the defense at me, and that's what threw me off.
Yeah, that defense is a little bit tricky. And Brandon Cooks, who knows? He might as well have as good of odds as the Dallas defense. Scampers in here said, friends, don't let friends get dowdled. We'll do our best in the future from letting that happen.
Double D dowdled.
On there. Pierre, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and play some games with us today, my friend. This has been a lot of fun.
Hey, thanks for having me as always. You guys keep up the good work. Keep putting out good content, and best of luck to all of you moving forward.
And everybody watching, if you are not already following our friend Pierre, fix that right now. Go and find him on Twitter at PWE31. That is PWEE31. It's right there below his handsome face and in the description of this YouTube video where you're watching at Front Yard Fantasy. That is going to be it for us today, but we'll be back tomorrow for some more fantasy football game show fun at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, though, we are out of here. Enjoy your Monday night football.
There you go.
See ya on Friday. Oh, wait.
Bye-bye.
Damn it.